What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the channel today for a special interview. We're in Tribeca season, which means we're going to be talking to a bunch of filmmakers that's getting their films out for the world to see. And this is the first one this year, so I'm very excited. I'm here with the director, writers, and producers of the new film NEA, which will be making its New York premiere this year at Tribeca Film Festival 2024. I am joined by Alex, Nelson, and Jesus. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having us on your space. It's crazy to hear that we're the first one.
You are the first one, and I'm gonna be frank, and Nelson, we'll start with you. I am a very avid moviegoer, film critic. I love
Oh,
films. What I dislike about films at times are short films because it's like the appetizer where you're just like, oh, that was so good. Where's the rest? But nonetheless, understanding how the process works, and I'm here to make sure that folks check this out because the first question we're starting off with is this is a banger.
really? You
24
leave
minutes.
them?
This is good. This
You
is
do you
good.
leave like thinking you wanted more?
Exactly. And that's
And we
exactly
achieve what
how
we
it's
needed.
supposed to do. Exactly. So let's start there and you can and share the question with your team here.
Mhm.
After the world sees it and falls in love with it like I did, what is the plan? Are we thinking feature-length film? Are you thinking series? Where you kind of been playing around with this?
Yeah, that's a good leeway. I think I mean, we could go a little bit into the background on like how we started this process, and then maybe it's easier to understand. Actually, during the pandemic, myself, I live here. I used to live in Cali. Alex lives in Medellín, and then we just wanted to kind of create an outlet for us to throw a lot of ideas and use that time, to really like study because we were in the industry running, 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 and then creating this process of understanding what our language was, but then we never had the opportunity to turn it into like a feature, because we went to film school, but we got caught up in this survival mode. And then during the pandemic, we started writing this film, and long story short, a lot of people were like, "Yeah, you guys are great. The industry knows who you are." We've worked with where in Latin America, every like famous singer you could think we've touched somehow. But then it was time to take it to the narrative. So then we started writing, and then people were like, nah, you gotta show, man. You gotta show what you're made of. So we made this product that is an example of what we were thinking for the feature film. So it's a feature fiction film. Is magical realism mixed with uh like an sorry, I'm translating in real time in Spanish. What is our three genres? Jesus, help me
So
here.
it's fantasy, dark comedy, or black comedy, and drama.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
And yeah, and it was an exercise. It was an exercise for us, and I could leave you to it because there's many ways to explain this. So
Yeah.
whichever
Yeah.
way you want to take it.
Yeah, Nelson, please, by all means, translating to Alex, and Alex, we absolutely welcome him to speak in Spanish as well, too, for our Spanish viewers. I would definitely appreciative of everyone's time today. Yeah, feature length for me, buddy. I need to see this whole thing out. Um,
We
you
too.
know, it's interesting because the pandemic was the time when the world shut down and we all were kind of facing our own adversities, but yet survival, as you mentioned. But
Mhm.
as we jokingly said before we started today, with this interview, is that it's Monday, and it is Monday when we're doing this recording. And I think what's very connecting of this story is we all have those days where this seems like everything's being thrown at us and we just don't know how we're going to get through it, but we know we have to. Just for you and just kind of wondering because you talk about the creative side and the passion of wanting to get the job done. What was some of the adversities minus the pandemic that you all collectively were dealing with in terms of like pushing this forward? Like, where were you all kind of like mentally
Yeah.
and ultimately how did you prep to get everybody on the same page?
Yeah, it's a lot of difficulties, honestly, in the industry. I could sum it up to what me and Alex were going through. And it's funny because we're in different countries, I'm in the States, he's in Colombia, but at the end of the day, what brings us together is our style. We have like an admiration for each other's style, and we have a very similar language, and then that's what brought us together in a way that we understood that together we were able to build this universe that surpass all these difficulties. And one of them, I could number them, but one of them is like being a director, a Latino director, you somewhat going in the last line because the opportunities are, counted by hand because you're going against multiple adversities. One is the language because Latin America has different dialects and different forms of communicating. The other one is like financing, because it's not the same to finance a movie here like to finance in Latin America. And some of these we have faced this challenge and almost not surpass it because we're still in it, but create different routes. And that's a big one too for us, like not sticking to the traditional route because in Latin America also a lot of directors go through the grand format. We went another way. We went like Web3. We created a bunch of NFTs through that. We were able
Yeah.
to raise some money. That was also like a cool journey, but it was just momentary. It was that tool for that moment. And I think the biggest thing for us is our narrative. Our narrative is almost like anti-systematic because in Latin
Mm,
America, a lot of the types of films that you're used to watching are they love to exploit the misery, the porn misery is what we call it.
yeah.
And to the Western world, to the developed nations, that is almost like a selling point. But for us, it's like, yo, we grew up with this shit, like there's no way, there's no need to exploit it in a way that is going against what we believe is the positive side of this journey. So that's how we found, for example, our characters, right? So a lot of our characters are non-professional actors. So
Yeah.
it's their story still in an environment where it's difficult to survive, but it's how you tell that story, When you see the Martin Scorsese, he was telling a story about like, the Italian mafia, but it wasn't exploited in a way that it was seen as negative, It's just who they are, but it
Yeah.
was told in a beautiful way. And that's what we want to propose in Latin America. That's why it doesn't feel like the traditional. So being non-traditional, it's difficult because you have to double, triple prove yourself.
That's why inclusion matters. That
Yeah,
right there.
100%.
So I appreciate that sentiment, brother. That just all the more reason why you can tell like this project meant so much to you all, and that's why it's good like it is because it's genuine. And and
Yeah.
if I can take like a quick second and say like that's why I take time with my outlet and my peers to let folks know like there's folks telling stories that's completely genuine to them. And while
Yeah.
Hollywood may be like, that's not real, that would never happen, da da da. But how you gonna tell somebody what they grew up in? How you gonna tell
Yeah.
somebody what their day to days in? And that's what I connect with when you can feel that because when you come
Yeah.
from that and those challenges that you speak about as well too, that working twice as hard thing. Oh, I know about that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, man. But you can feel your energy, and it's almost like double down on what you believe on. And once you do that, like the result, it's almost like speaking for itself, because
Yeah,
your intention is pure.
absolutely. The fourth wall being broke is always an interesting artistic choice. Who brought that to the table? And the execution is amazing. And then I love being able to get my urban dictionary vocabulary of the date here because it was sort of like a not only just an insight into the day to day, but also just understanding the lingo, the language, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So talk about how that was like kind of put on the board in terms of using the fourth wall to educate the masses.
Yeah, that's beautiful that you say educate. And sorry I'm taking over, but we're trying to do this thing where like if the interview's in Spanish, we pass it to Alex and play this role like as we do because we are co-directors. This whole process is a joint vision, which
Yeah,
sometimes is like more difficult. But if you align yourself, which I feel like we are getting to that point where it's like pure speed,
yeah,
then the result is amazing, and things like that happen. Like magic, like the creation of the fourth wall was start as an explanation, as you said it. We wanted to create a teaser because it started as a teaser, not as a short. But we were like, nah, we gotta turn this thing into a short. But it started as a teaser, and the teaser became um a moment. We actually would inspire ourselves in the teaser of a director from Colombia who got to Cannes with a film, and in the teaser, he's telling French people to give him money like that directly, with like a homeless person.
yeah,
Um, And we're like, yo, we could do that, but in our way. You know what I mean? Let's do it like in a really modern cinematic way. And yeah, we started doing this process of finding who the actors were. Everybody from the script was Alex's friends from the neighborhood. So all these characters started becoming like fictionalized through like real people. And then yeah, through the process we understood that okay, you know how the E40 has the dictionary, the you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
Like I forgot what it's called, like the slang dictionary or something.
I think it was like they call it like the Ebonics. I can't remember, but I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about though.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
then Snoop Dogg had one too, I
Mm-hmm.
think. So for us, it was like this lady in Colombia broke it down, you know, broke down the slang. So we quote that, you know, and in a way, it's like we're hitting all the points, which is like create a narrative and then explain what the style of people are, because NEA is almost like a style, you know. It's
Yeah.
like when you call like a Mexican a homie, homie has a connotation of like the cultural presence, you know. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Latino, but also like from the US and addressed in a particular way. So that's NEA for us, you know. It's a type of person, a way of communication and stuff. But it also comes from a longer word where everybody talks in Colombia and tells and references each other with that word. So we're hitting all the points and like, okay, we're doing the culture thing, we're explaining, we're like educating, and we're also like entertaining. So, it became like a beautiful like synergy for us, you know. The
Man.
fourth wall was just simply like a stylistic choice.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it, man. That the E40 urban slang for the Bay Area. That's a great comparison. There's one
Right?
last
No, 'cause
question.
I'm from the Bay, so I kind of like put two and two.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. And Jesus, I think you're from San Francisco too, right?
I'm from Tijuana, Mexico, but I've lived in San Francisco for the past
Lim-
13 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Last question for you before we wrap up today. I mean, listen, man, these two obviously they had that camaraderie. They know each other. They can probably finish each other's statements. When you come on board now as a producer and you have a vision and they have a vision and you hear that make sure everything operates. Just talk to me about joining the project, and then ultimately some of the touches that you wanted to bring to it.
Well, I have to say, like as a producer, I've always wanted to have a project that like spoke to me, like producing something, takes your time, energy, money, it's something that you're going to devote your, the next 2, 3, 4 years of your life to. So by the time I got aware of the project, Nelson, they had already shot the teaser, Nelson and Alex, which is like the first 4 or 5 minutes of the movie, the character explaining, the slang to camera, breaking the fourth wall. So I saw it, and I was like, this blew my mind. A week later, I was down in LA doing pre-production with Nelson. Then a month later, we were down in Colombia. Totally culture shock for me, like producing a different country, just going with it. So yeah, from a producing perspective, I think like we have found a way to collaborate, between time zones, cultures of Latinos, that type of thing. It has worked perfectly. We talk about it. We have discussions about the creative part of it. Like it's a very open world for it. It's something that we enjoy a lot.
Jesus was a crazy addition for us because me and Alex are very creative, like we're like full creative. And then we have a lot of experience too, we're in the field a lot, we just never, we haven't stopped in 12 years.
Yeah,
And Jesus is super pragmatic, He's like, yo, this is the calendar, this is the shit. Boom, boom, we're like, okay, this is working, because then we were lifting a lot of the producing role because we couldn't find a good producer, like it's
yeah,
a reality. The industry doesn't have people who are devoted for producing, who are like, okay, you're the director, stay over there, you do your shit, I'll go do my own thing. So Jesus was perfect, like me and Alex are the crazy ones, and he just takes care of the house. And it's beautiful, it's beautiful. It's also very rewarding because we're all Latinos from different countries,
yeah.
so it brings a lot of international experience.
Amazing. My brothers, I appreciate the time today. Everybody listening, please keep your eyes peeled for NEA, which will be making this New York premiere at Tribeca 2024. And then just keep our eyes out for their future projects as well. And just to see the life of this project, as my fingers are crossed that we'll be getting that funding
Let's
inside your
go.
inbox or your bank account sometime soon, so we can get this feature
Let's
length
go.
done. But for what it's worth, man, for 24 minutes, this was absolutely fantastic, and I definitely want to thank you all for inviting myself and others into the culture, just to kind of see in a very stylistic, artsy way, just to kind of see what those day-to-days in your life's experiences are. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
for giving us a space to chat.
Absolutely. Y'all take care,
Thanks
and
a
thank you so
lot.
much, everybody, for checking this out.
Yep.
Thanks, Ajay.
I